talking about two totally different things. That we can talk about violence, by which we often mean racist violence, military violence, police violence, without thinking about the violence that happens inside relationships.
Thank you.
You know, the violence that happens with the pandemic of sexual abuse. And so, yeah, let's think about women. Let's think about. And when I say women, I'm not trying to define women in a narrow sense, because if you look at the group that is probably most consistently attacked by the police or subject to even street violence, it's going to be trans women who cannot easily pass.
Yes.
And I think that there's a great deal that we can learn from looking at the struggles for the rights of trans women. So when I say women, I'm trying to be capacious in my use of that term, because I think we've gone further than recognizing gender as a binary phenomenon.
Thank you.
First Nations women in North America, Black, Latino, Asian American women, Indigenous and Afro-descended women in Brazil, in Colombia, all over South America. But let us also think about Middle Eastern and African women in European countries, and Mozambican women in South Africa, and Palestinian women in the occupied territories, because these are our sisters.
Yes.
And their brothers are our brothers. This is the canvas on which we draw our commitment to stop the targeting of racialized women. When we say stop targeting Indigenous women, First Nations women, women of color, we're also saying abolish prisons and dismantle the prison industrial complex. And so let us all identify with the imperative to build a new world where justice and equality prevails. Thank you.
As a use to discourage young people from getting involved in radical political
Assata Shakur.
Assata Shakur, sorry. Yes.
The other one.
Sorry. How can we mobilize? I think a lot of young people right now lack direction. We look at movements like the Black Power movement and the Civil Rights movement as things of the past, and often don't recognize our place in revolutionary movements. So how do we legitimize ourselves as a part of a collective struggle?
Well, I'll give a brief answer, and then I'm sure Bobby has a great deal to say. Those movements are movements of the past. Which is to say, you can't recreate those same movements today, but you can be inspired by them. You can recognize that it's your responsibility to build on them and to create something new, something different. And how do you do it? You do it. Do it.
In the Black Panther Party, the first female in the very early days of the party, who was on the Central Committee leadership body of my Black Panther Party, was Kathleen Cleaver. Kathleen Cleaver was the husband of the wife of Eldridge Cleaver. And she was first. One of the things that happened with Black Panther Party is that after Dr. King was killed, we had women in the party, but the growth of the party from April of 1968 until, December of 1968 moved from 400 members, as I told you earlier in my speech, to 5,000 members in 49 chapters and branches throughout the United States of America. That membership level was 2/3 plus young African American women in the Black Panther Party. Most people don't even know that. And there was quite a bit of other leadership frameworks. Boston, Massachusetts was run by none other than Sister Audrey Jones, now Dr. Dunham. She's at Georgia State University now. Lynn French was a key part of the leadership body of the Central Committee of Chicago, Illinois chapter. She's now a lawyer for the Washington, D.C. government, a lawyer, etc. Penny Shakur, Tupac Shakur's mother, she ran the Harlem office. I had Black Panther Party. Richmond, my wife Leslie today, and Joan Kelly and those sisters, they ran those offices. They ran those operations.
That's true.
You see, yeah, I'm telling you.
And that is important.
And what you have to understand with me in the Black Panther Party, and my leadership role relative, a lot of various kinds of things happen. You see, you have organizations where a lot of young brothers bring in their negative mores in their relationship to who women are and what women are about. And so I had to learn to deal to iron out things for justice. Now, at one point, I'm going to tell you this quick story. This Afro-Japanese sister, she joined the Black Panther Party. I knew the mother and the father. They came down. She was 17 years of age. A brother named Joe, who was trying to hit on her for 2 months. And at one point, I called this retreat in October. That was the October retreat. The other one was December. And in effect, we were bunched up in different houses and places. You take a box spring and a mattress and you throw it on the floor, and people sleep in their clothes, whatever, etc. And she was in one room on a box spring, etc. And this guy, Joe, who'd been trying to hit on her, in effect came into the room and trying to talk to her like he'd been trying, but he evolved her and literally rape her. Now, Sister Lauren Williams sent in a report against him because she went to Lauren. Lauren was a photographer of the party, and she took all the pictures, etc., of her bruise marks, etc., what have you. And in effect, I called a Central Committee meeting, with some of my field marshals and others, and put 3 or 4 people on the committee to hear this out about this guy raping her. And then they presented the evidence, and then I said, Joe, what about this? Oh, Jim, I ain't raped her, man. I've been hitting on her, she dug me, man, boom, 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 and all this kind of crap, blah, blah, blah. And of course, different people asking questions and stuff. And then I said, wait a minute, I know what you're saying. I was really trying to probe him for what a lot of males do in the one-sided chauvinistic crap. I says, in other words, she was saying no, but when she struck, she really meant yes. That's what you're talking about, brother. Yeah, that's right, Trim. See, he's trying to get out of this crap, And he went on to say that a couple of times. And I said, well, I call for the fact that this brother here violated his sister's personal dignity, and that as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to take a vote, on this and kick him out of the party. And I said, we're going to put him in the column. We had a column in the Black Panther Party newspaper, Enemy of the People. We're going to put him in there and say he's not a member of the party, this is what he did, etc., blah, 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 blah. And we had a big break. Now, I used to have these Sunday meeting sessions all the time, mostly about organizing work, and getting things done and people being dispatched. But you also handle problems when people are charged under me. That's the way we ran. And then they came back from the lunch break, and so the field marshals, 3 or 4 of them was on the committee. Says, Chairman, we don't want to kick this brother out of the party. You don't want to put his picture in the newspaper saying that he raped somebody because the police is going to come down on us. I said, well, wait a minute. I want him out of the party. She said, well, he suggests that he take physical discipline. He take physical discipline and to stay in the party. He don't want to be kicked out of the party that way. Because you don't want to be kicked out of Black Panther Party newspaper. We circulate 200 newspapers and your pictures in there. And you all in the black community that you don't represent the party, you a rapist, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Naturally. But my point is, I got outvoted and say, let's keep him in and give him physical discipline. I don't want physical discipline. Then they voted me again to give him the physical discipline that he suggested. Something happened, and later on that evening they was trying to, and I said, well, if you're going to do this damn physical discipline, you can't hit him on it and the shoulders down. And I heard through the window, they hadn't got it going yet for a half an hour later. I heard Joe saying to the group that's been chosen to do the physical discipline, which was more males. Y'all hit me, baby. I can take anything y'all can put down. Boom, boom, boom. So I heard that through the window, you know, and I walked to the window and I said, Landon, come in. He came to the window. I said, you see what that guy is saying? I said, you guys here voting for this guy to have some physical discipline? And these guys, Joe, when I hit you, baby, you gonna buckle. You might buckle, baby, but I'll get back up again. I said, don't you see what's going on there? I said, this physical discipline ain't gonna do him no damn good. I said, this is crap. What do you mean? I said, get rid of that crew. Don't hit him, don't do nothing. I'm gonna go get another crew. I went upstairs and I said, Connie, the reason I knew Connie because her brother had taught her to box. Connie, Joanne, I got about 6 sisters that came downstairs. Come around and I said, Joe said, what's this, Chairman? I said, this is your discipline committee. You the one who wants your ass kicked, kids stay in the party, right? I said, this is your discipline committee. No. They sisters, man, they did that. I said, You was talking a while ago how you can take it. I said, no. Anyway, my point is, I said, all right, I told the sisters, I hereby direct you to give him physical discipline for 1 minute. And next thing I know, Connie breaks in. You know, Connie could box. Connie was looking around and hit him, and she came up with a left hook. Pow! And hit him in the jaw. Knocked him aside. Then I hollered out, Connie! And everybody stops. And she said, what is it, Chairman? I said, you can't hit him in the head. You can hit him from the shoulders down. And the charity of women, I mean, she says, brother, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Listen to me, brother. And I said, all right, cool down. I said, now, get back here. Now, you know, some of the sisters are just tapping him, etc. But Connie boxed him, etc. Give you 1 minute, etc. My point here is, I got some justice out of something, and I guess it was 2 months later, he came from the San Francisco office to come to the distribution office and the headquarters in Berkeley over there at the time, etc. And he walks in, and the sisters looked at him and said, Joe, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. He does his business, etc. Then he get ready to leave. And as he's going out to Joe, one of the sisters said, hey, Joe, what? You better not be trying to take none no more. You know about that now. Oh, come on, you guys, that stuff is over. And the other sister said, no, Joe. If you try to take some, remember, we kicking ass now.